What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to the Dossier, where we talk about new and exciting characters from Marvel Crisis Protocol and share our hot potato takes on all sorts of things, be it right, wrong, or anything else. I just usually end up vindicated in the end. That's how it usually happens. But today, I am joined by Jason from Zetrox Wargaming, and we're talking the Invincible Iron Man. Woo! And this one's a little bit more exciting for me because he's got a fun little connection to S.H.I.E.L.D. here. But I figure you can bring some insight in Iron Man versus Iron Man action here. So let's start off with the model. And what are your thoughts on it first?
It's a nice model. I was a little off about the proportions at first, but seeing it in person, I think, is a lot better than the promotional pictures for it. So I'm actually really happy with the sculpt now that I've seen it in person. It's really nice. It's a little bit more dynamic, well, a lot more dynamic than the original core box Iron Man.
Is it ever?
Personally, I don't think it quite beats the Hulkbuster one for me, the one that's popped out of the suit, but I can see an argument for either of them. I do think it's a really nice model.
So I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I do like it more than the escape suit. The escape suit's a very close second though. Like it is, they are both great models. I just like this one's a little bit more forward leaning. It feels a little bit more aggressive as opposed to reactionary.
For sure. The old one's definitely like a fallback sort of thing.
Yeah, and I mean over the first one where it's just basically just him standing his ground, repulsor blasting someone,
I have
right?
both of the models here too if you want to compare them.
So let's get that old one on there. It's like, yeah, so there's the three different Iron Men right there, and man, we need an Iron Man or
give me a affiliation that says Tony Stark. You can have as many of them as you want.
They're grunts.
Yeah.
It's a great model. Again, very easy to put together. I love the forward momentum on it. I like the fact that he's got like that active stabilizing hand down, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a nice detail.
I like the other one that's very much in like there's something. I think there's something confident about this pose.
Yes,
which I really like. And I think the first one, there's a little bit of non-confidence with it, and I think the escape suit is just, again,
it's an escape suit.
Yeah, it's very
he's running away.
But I love this one. This is personally my favorite of the Iron Men we've seen so far, if you don't count Hulkbuster, which is technically an Iron Man. But I think it's a great model personally. I really enjoy it. But yeah, so let's chat the card here, and want to run down his basic stats there.
Sure. Yeah, he's got a pretty solid defensive line. I mean, nothing too special for a fourth threat. He's 4.33. He's going to be running around with 6 stamina, size 2, and a medium move. So nothing too crazy there. But yeah, solid line. Nothing really jumping out at me.
I mean, for a fourth threat, I mean we've seen that line a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And I think we're very happy with it. I like seeing the 6 stamina on him as well.
6 stamina is always
I think
good.
That's really nice. So for his attacks, he's got his Repulsor Mark II, which is a range 4/5 dice. It is a builder. It also has a gainer if you happen to not get any damage through on it, which
so nice. I mean,
so good.
Having that on something like Hulkbuster always feels really good.
The amount of times I make a shot with OG Iron Man and I do no damage, like for the longest time, I just naturally assumed his attack was a gainer because I just never did anything with it. And then he still has the wild push, which is still size unrestricted.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
We've seen from the old Iron Man, that push is fantastic. It's not the most consistent thing in the world, but it's good.
But in New Steve leadership, I mean, that's happening almost every time, right? We have Billion Dollar Punch, which is a physical attack, range 3, 7 dice for 3 power. Before damage is dealt, places character within range 1 of the target character. We're seeing a lot more of those effects these days.
We are. It's becoming very common.
And then it is a hit and wild result to get a size 3 throw, a medium throw after the attack is resolved.
Which, for what's worth pointing out here, is you're placing yourself before that, so you can angle that throw however you want.
You sure can. And I mean, anytime you can add an extra throw in there, that's just extra damage. So it's a much more aggressive Iron Man.
It's also a physical attack, which I don't think... I mean, Hulkbuster has it in Hulkbuster form, but OG Iron Man didn't have one of those. So,
the homing rockets. The homing rockets.
Yeah, I just don't use it very much.
Exactly. And then we have focused iron Unibeam, which is a range 5, 7 dice for 4 power. Crits, you roll 2 additional dice instead of 1. And however, if you roll any crits, you will suffer 2 damage for it.
Notably, unlike War Machine, it's not based on how many crits you get. It's always
he gave Rhodey the experimental stuff. It's like, go ahead, and he's now refined it for himself. Just it's a very Tony move to do here.
I mean, it's a very solid spender, though. It's a good chance that it can really blow up and do a lot of damage. Unfortunately, it also kind of runs the risk that it could not. One fun thing I like about it is under the new Steve, you can actually, after exploding your crit, if you only had one in the pool, you could then turn your crit into like a regular
During
hit
the
or
modify.
wild
Yep.
to not take any extra
Yeah,
damage for it.
that's a little rude. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. Okay, so normally I'd pair off and let you talk about this one, but I'm going to talk about this
Oh,
because
this
I'm a
one's
shield
all
player.
yours.
So let's get you an upgrade, which is a shield leadership. And while an allied character is attacking, defending, or dodging during the modified dice step, it may spend 1 power. If it does, it may reroll one of its dice. It is the Wakanda leadership.
Yep.
It is great. It is amazing. I am so excited for this in Shield.
Yep.
Shield just throws so many stupid attacks out there, and the ability to just get some rerolls, I love it.
Despite their crazy limited model pool, Wakanda has been a very competitive affiliation for a very long time, so clearly it's a very good leadership.
It is.
And I think it's really nice to give the versatility over to Shield of having a different option.
Yeah, and there's so many characters in Shield that can make use of any of those, the potential rerolls, the extra dice, all that sort of stuff. Grunts can't use it because they don't have power, but I mean, it is what it is. And I don't know how often you're going to be running Iron Man with Nick Fury, although I do think there's a strong argument for it.
I definitely think there is, especially once you get into his next ability.
Yeah. So next up, we have a reactive ability, Jarvis. It's an X cost. While another allied character is attacking within range 4 during the modified dice step, you can spend 1 to 3 power and basically reroll attack dice equal to the power spent. Yeah.
So I just mentioned Wakanda on the leadership, but now you have your own Shuri as well. I mean, it's only for attack, but
he's basically Shuri and Panther in one with that one, which is really kind of cool. I already run Sentinel Prime in a lot of my Shield rosters as it is, and this can very easily replace Sentinel Prime and save me an extra threat.
100%.
Which I am all for. Native rerolls to Shield. Oh my goodness, what did we do to deserve that? It's I'm not looking forward to the onslaught of people about to complain about Shield. It's gonna happen.
I mean,
it all started when Mr. Vince Kirchhoff exposed all our abilities at LVO last year, and it's been downhill since then. But I'm so looking forward to that.
I think this is going to be a huge for Shield.
Yeah. Then we have Iron Man, which is basically invincible.
Yep, it's pay a power, reduce damage, minimum of 1 or minimum of 0, so you can bring down to 0, which
is obnoxious.
Yep.
It's obnoxious on so many characters, and it's obnoxious here as well. And then of course he has flight, which you expect. And I don't think
a single thing changes on the flip.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything changes on the flip side here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's his stat card. There's 3 cards in the core box that he calls attentions to. Overcharge, you'll have seen this in the Captain Marvel one. Basically, Thor or Carol can spend 5 to play the card, and Tony will then make this area to 6 dice attack, which is a gainer, and puts out shock.
I think worth noting on this one, while it does say Tony, so you could use it on any of them, this is probably the best one for it because he actually has that attack that's throwing him into the middle of things, that $1 billion punch or whatever.
Absolutely.
So this is the one that's going to be the most in your face. He's also the most defensive. I guess Hulkbuster's the most defensive, but like he's willing to get up into your face, and then you can actually throw an overcharge at him. So I think that's worth doing once in a while, and it's going to be good with this Tony specifically.
For sure, I like it. We're going to talk about the other card we'll have seen before in Steve, which is Repulsor Refraction. So once again, in Iron Man's activation and within 4 of Captain America First Avenger, they may each spend 1, and then the Invincible Iron Man will make the attack above. Now this is interesting that it has active action.
Yep, new templating.
Yeah, so it is actually an action here, but it does create a beam 4 5 dice attack that you measure from Captain America First Avenger. Just a solid attack if you happen to get a sweet beam. I don't know how often we really see it over a bunch of other cards.
Yeah, I'd have to double check if the old thing that does the same thing, I don't remember what it was called, but the old reflection attack from the old core box, I'd have to double check if that works with Tony Stark or Iron Man. But if it works with Tony Stark, I feel like a lot of the times that one's probably more preferable to this one.
Either or. I mean, it's a nice little option to have if you want to play around and have some fun, right?
Yeah.
And then this is the other part that really makes me excited. We have Stark Armory, unaffiliated, reactive. So this is in any affiliation that he's playing. During the power phase, an allied Tony Stark, so any Iron Man or Hulkbuster, may spend X power to play this card. X must be at least 1 and no more than 5. This round, Tony Stark and other allied characters within X of him add 1 die to their attack rolls, where X is equal to the number of power spent. Oh my goodness. Once again, looking at this in Shield, It's already obnoxious how many little dice attacks Shield can throw out. You add Stark Armory to this, and
It's going to be insane.
and the fact that it's for the full round and he got your backs are going to trigger off it.
Yep.
Grunts are going to get to take. Ooh, actually, Grunts might not get to take. That one might be a thing because you can't target Grunts with an Allied Tactics card.
But I don't.
But
We can check the rules for when it's official, but I have a feeling that'll actually work for them because they are allied characters and it's not actually choosing them.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the right interpretation there, but we'll know for sure once the rules forms gets their hands on it. But yeah, just the amount of extra dice. Like imagine this with Bucky.
Yeah.
Bucky with a hammer and Stark Armory, and all of a sudden he's throwing out 4-6 dice attacks with bleed. And
I think the card will probably see play in other places. It might be worth including in, say, Avengers, but in Shield, it's going to be game changing.
Shield, it's going to be huge. It opens up a new style of play for Shield, or it just really reinforces the old gun line.
Yeah, I think for a gun line style list, that card is amazing.
It's an absolutely bonkers card. Every Shield player is excited for this card.
Yeah.
Every Shield player wants to see it and play with it, and yeah, it's going to be huge. But just in general, like it is a good card. And if you're slotting Tony into any other faction, I mean,
it's worth bringing.
I almost feel like this card is it's fighting for a spot with Helios Laser, quite frankly.
I mean, I'd go against that and say you're just bringing both.
I think you're bringing both. I don't think you're necessarily playing both.
Sure.
In the same game. But if you're going up against any of the battleship meta, you'll probably see Helios. If you're going up against anything else, I think you see Stark Armory.
I think against the battleship, you bring both because then you can just all guns fire on it.
Oh, so just be absolutely obnoxious and rude. Okay. Yeah. No, I dig it. Like that's such a good card. Anything that gives that sort of things. It's almost as obnoxious as Galaxy's Greatest.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that is the Invincible Iron Man. He's great in Avengers. He's going to be right at home in a lot of affiliations, I think.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be game changing for Shield. I think there is a place for him in Avengers, although I do think old Iron Man will probably win out on him most of the time, for me at least. But Shield's going to be really appreciative of this model.
Oh, I already am. I'm looking forward to playing around with him in Shield. Hopefully at some point soon there's going to be a Shield Hydra video going up, showcasing the new Zemo and new Iron Man, obviously. So we're going to see that. But yeah, so that is the Invincible Iron Man. Sound off below if you're excited about that as well. And, because I know we are.
Oh,
We're very excited. But yeah, so at this point, if you guys want to support the channel, patreon.com/HSBrandStudios. I want to just thank all the viewers. I want to thank all the patrons. And of course, I want to thank AMG for sending out this early copy so we can get this content made for you. Leave your comments below. We'll see you next time. Happy War Game.